We all should be working our hardest to conserve our natural resources and protect the environment of this planet. If we don't always keep safety, efficiency and fuel economy as our first considerations when driving, we're just not doing it properly. It's important to keep in mind that fuel supplies just may not be endless.
A large fleet, like the 75,000 odd vehicles in the Commonwealth Government's operation, incorporating the Department of Administrative Services fleet, puffs something like 375,000 tonnes of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere each year. And decisive steps are being taken by governments to drastically reduce that problem. In fact, in an almost unique situation, all governments, federal, state and local, and community services are working together to protect the environment and our natural resources. Since the late 70s, the average fuel consumption of the motor car has dropped by 22% due to advanced technology and more efficient engines. But another 10 to 15% reduction could be achieved without much effort through better driving techniques and a little more thought into how cars are selected, prepared, used and driven.
The simplest and most dramatic way of using less fuel is to pay attention to tyre pressures. More air in the tyres will reduce the fuel used and also make you safer if you have to brake and swerve or have better control in an emergency.
Information and advice from tyre companies in association with independent testing shows that fuel economy improves as tyre pressures go up.
Tyres are far more tolerant of slightly overinflation than underinflation. So if you're worried about wearing the centre of the tyres out as a result of pumping them up a little bit too high, don't. Because they'll wear evenly, they'll wear nice and flat, and you'll improve your fuel economy.
Mercedes-Benz conducted comprehensive testing and training and found, for example, that continual key starting 30 times a minute used only 0.8 of a litre of fuel every hour, compared with nearly 1.5 litres per hour if the engine is idling non-stop. Certainly a lot of fuel would be saved if motorists switched off when sitting in a traffic jam, rather than continual idling when stationary, getting 0 kilometres per litre, as shown using two small cars, the blue Festiva idling, the other key starting every 10 seconds. This demonstration using identical cars and exhaust inflatable air jacks proved the point. Of course, switching off at the lights when you're sitting there alone increases the risk of being hit from behind because you have no chance of using an escape route. But you can often switch off and save fuel in a traffic jam as long as there are plenty of cars behind to protect your rear end. The Mercedes-Benz research also showed that smooth, moderate acceleration, getting up to top speed earlier, was more economical than creeping carefully up to a cruising speed. Accurate tests showed just how much fuel could be saved. Driving on a freeway at 100 kilometres per hour, higher tyre pressures increased the distance covered on a given amount of fuel by nearly 1.5 kilometres, 8.7% in fact. On a twisting road at slow speeds, the selection of automatic third gear used about 3% more fuel than automatic fourth gear. Switching on the air conditioning dramatically increased the fuel used, another 12%. Then, with tyre pressures dropped from 250 kilopascals to 180, that's 36 psi to 26, fuel economy suffered by another 5%. Freeway driving at a steady 100 kilometres per hour saw fuel usage increase dramatically by 28% when a roof rack and luggage was added. Rolling down a ramp in neutral is one simple way of showing how a car with more air in the tyres has far less rolling resistance and therefore less fuel usage. The difference in this basic test was an improvement of 3.6 metres, an increased distance of 10.5%. Not only does more air use less fuel, it increases road holding and safety in many ways, with no real disadvantages in everyday driving. It also reduces the risk of a tyre popping off the rim, resulting in instant deflation, where such an incident can easily result in a rollover. We should also be more selective when there's a variety of vehicles available. While a big car can be more comfortable for the occupants, there's obvious waste in choosing a large rental car for a driver-only situation, where city driving or slow traffic is expected. Often it's far more economical and sometimes quicker to use public transport, a taxi, telephone, fax or even email. But no matter what we drive, what load is carried or how much air is in the tyres, it's impossible to achieve anything near maximum fuel savings unless there's some effort for proficiency and efficiency by the driver.
It's important to drive just as smoothly as possible. Look well ahead so that you avoid interruptions and have better traffic flow. And if you're going to stop, don't change down through all the gears. Just squeeze on the brake when you're halfway there pushing the clutch. That way you save wear and tear on mechanical components and you use less fuel. And when you stop, simply put it in first gear, ready to go.
On a downhill run, skipping gears can save petrol. As with all driving, use the highest gear available for the job, although avoid labouring the engine with low revs. Another simple rule, when filling the car at the Bowser, stop at the first click to avoid spillage. This excellent fuel consumption guide booklet, available from the Department of Primary Industries and Energy, is a further help. It contains fuel-efficient driving tips and comparative fuel consumption information on more than 600 new cars, four-wheel drives and light commercials, and will help to choose a more fuel-efficient vehicle.
There are dozens of steps we can take to preserve the Earth's precious fluids and at the same time look after the environment and reduce the greenhouse effect. We must reduce fuel usage for our children and the generations following.